Well, we are going to Africa.
Over 10 years ago, I set out on my sailing journey aboard my own boat, Carl, with wild plans in my head that didn't quite unfold the way I imagined. And today I'm sailing on Santana, Flo's Hallberg Rassy 35, heading toward a tiny island in the Mediterranean that marks our final stop before something big, sailing to a new continent. Most of my previous sailing has been in Central and South America, so this feels like the beginning of a brand new chapter. And while sailing on someone else's agenda still feels somewhat unfamiliar, the thought of crossing the Mediterranean and setting foot in North Africa together with Flo stirs something in me: curiosity, anticipation, and a sense of adventure I haven't felt in a while. It's a short sail today and the conditions are perfect. As we approach Malur, the wind fills in and Santana charges ahead, gliding past dramatic cliffs and lonely beacons before we perform a tack to make our way into the anchorage. The boat feels good and we feel ready. And I feel a little tingle of electricity knowing that soon we'll be pointing the bow toward a new coastline and stepping into the unknown. Originally, we had planned to leave this anchorage here in Malur today and sail over to the Spanish mainland. But then a weather window opened up that looks pretty promising to sail straight to Melilla, which is like a 300-mile passage more or less. And we got excited about it and changed our plans, and what we didn't think about was that another reason why we had actually planned to leave this anchorage today and not tomorrow was that the wind was going to turn around and it was going to come from the direction that this anchorage does not offer any protection from. So today we've been rolling around quite a bit at anchor. We finally now set out stern anchor because we were honestly getting seasick at anchor. And now it's a lot more stable. So hopefully we're gonna have a quiet night before leaving tomorrow. Malur is a tiny little island just in the north of Formentera in the south of Ibiza. And it's quite pretty, but there's not really much to see either. There's rugged cliffs, and like here where we anchored, there's a beautiful shoreline. And then there's a tiny little stretch between this island and Formentera where there's water, but you could probably walk across. I don't know. I wouldn't try, but it's been a beautiful anchorage though. I'm gonna make some dinner now. Since we are in the Mediterranean, we're gonna have some Mediterranean typical food. Some lipia. And then I think we're going to have an early night because we're going to leave early tomorrow in the morning to go on passage. How's the weather looking?
Sun is up. Yesterday was grey and gloomy, and I really don't like to be on my way when it's grey and gloomy. And today it looks like a beautiful day again, and the wind turned around, so we have northeasterly, so it's a 4-wind course. It's probably going to stay like this all the way to Melilla. A bit more, a bit less. We have to see how correct the data is. For right now, I think we are starting to motor until we get away from the islands, and then I hope the wind will pick up a little bit until 10 in the morning, and then we will try to race the spinnaker or blister in this case.
You seem pretty full of energy.
Oh yeah, I already had an hour of coaching call this morning. Had a coffee, and I'm excited to go.
All right, let's go then. This is going to be a fun course. Things have already been flying left and right. It's a good test for how well you stowed your things when you go on passage. It's good when it happens in the beginning, so you're not as frustrated yet. Whereas I feel that most frustration level with all the sand is already
Wow, the sand!
different level of frustration. There's some beeping. I'm not sure what it is. Flo hates sand. Not just on the boat, but also on the beach. That's why he's now trying to remove all the sand from the boat, which is a quest when you have dogs who've just been to the beach and carrying a lot of sand on them. I'm a bit nervous about this beeping. After a little search, wondering why the sand was actually coming from different locations at times, we found out, Flo found out, that it's actually my phone. Go figure, my Navionics has a collision sound alarm. Zack, off. The waves are super steep and very short period. That's why it's so bad. They're not high at all, but it's like a bucking horse. I do hope that some of it, because the waves are rolling onto Formentera, so maybe they're getting some like backlash from the island. So hopefully,
And maybe that's just the Mediterranean style.
yeah, we're still going to be a bit in the Mediterranean. So I hope it's not just the Mediterranean, but also Formentera. So once we're out of the island, maybe it's going to be a bit better.
Feels like I'm getting thrown around from one side to another.
I don't think it's not just you feeling that. The wind, aka no wind, is looking more like a game of roulette. Right now there's really zero. Not that we would get anywhere with a little bit of wind because it's so choppy. The dogs are trying to find a place where they're not rolling around like crazy.
So do I.
It's an asymmetrical light wind sail that comes in a sock. So Flo just now pulled up the sock. Then once you pull the sock off, the sail opens up. The wind has gotten at least a little bit stronger so that we can see which direction it's coming from now. So Flo's gonna try and hoist the blister. Oh, it's tricky. We're not really getting the blister to stand in a good way. The wind is not bad. It's 10 knots. More or less. 9 to 10. But the waves are throwing us so much that the sail keeps falling in. Now, Flo has put up the whisker pole, but still the sail isn't standing right. So he thinks that maybe it wasn't in the right position on the top. So he's swapping something around now. We were doing good speed. We were doing 4, 9, 5, 6, something around that. But it didn't sound good for the material. Like the sails kept banging, and with that light material sail, it was always up on the spreader, so you don't want it to rip. My first night watch is over. I had 8 to 12 o'clock at night. The wind died down completely, so we took down the sail. Pretty uneventful so far. There's a couple of lights on the Spanish coast, but no traffic at all. It's another 220 to go. So that means we already did 80 miles. Wow. Man, we're fast. I'm not used to this kind of speed. I'm used to like average speed of 4 knots, but we're doing like 5.5 to 6 knots, pretty much. That's great. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Oh, very early morning.
How was your sleep?
No, I'm not sleeping that deep when I know I have to get up and when I know we are at sea.
You don't trust your crew?
Better safe than sorry.
I'm gonna catch a little nap. Good night. It's roughly 9 o'clock in the morning. We just had coffee and the wind has picked up a little bit. So Flo's gonna set the blister back up and hopefully we can have some nice sailing. We just dabbled into the priority data of Starlink real quick and send a passage update to patrons and channel members. If you would like to get live passage updates like that, make sure you join our support crew on either Patreon or YouTube channel members. This is the only thing I have to do in this whole setup. I have to winch in the sheet once everything is ready. Now that is absolute luxurious. A hot shower and away while sailing to a new continent. First time?
First time, yeah.
Woo, exciting.
I didn't have a second pole. I just got the pole from my friend Bo, the guy who sold me the boat a couple of years ago, and he had another pole. So it's the first time that I actually could try it.
Now that is pretty darn amazing. Quite speedy. I think we're doing 6.5 knots. We've got the circus tent up and the genoa. Beautiful. And you might know how much I love whisker poles. But at least the conditions are pretty pretty safe.
Despite this being my longest passage so far, my anxiety level was surprisingly low. We were leaving from an anchorage, not a marina, and somehow that always feels a bit easier. We were heading towards Melilla, a Spanish enclave on the African coast. No complicated paperwork waiting for us at the landfall. And maybe, most reassuring of all, I wasn't doing this one solo. But more than anything, there was this quiet sense of excitement. This was the furthest south and west I had ever sailed on my own boat. And for the first time, it really felt like we were on the move, leaving the familiar behind. Sailing toward Africa, a place that holds so many memories for me, opened up a whole new space of possibility. Maybe we'd explore Morocco's rugged coastline, maybe we'd point the bow towards Cape Verde, and then maybe even West Africa. That moment of crossing, one shore to another across open water, was more than just a milestone. It was a reminder. This is our journey to shape. We get to choose where we go next.
This is my absolute nightmare. I hate it when there's traffic at night. I don't like to be involved in things that I have no control over whatsoever. So it's one thing that on the AIS I can see where people are going and I can, check out where boats are, but then they change directions and they change speed and I can't sit here and monitor it all the time. So it's driving me pretty nuts. This is like super stressy for me. It's the second night at sea. The wind died down again quite a bit, so we're motoring a little bit. And there's a lot of traffic. It's dead calm. Pretty flat seas, which is great. It's hardly any sea state. Well, there isn't actually any sea state. We've got 65 more miles to go. We're doing 6 knots. Apparently. Trucking along nicely. Luckily the traffic slowed down considerably, so the last 2-3 hours there was only 2 boats. It's really humid. It's dripping down from the humidity on top of it. And it's kind of cold, but apart from that, everything is super smooth. And if we keep going like that, then we're gonna be there in 11 hours. There's Africa! Check this out! It's a bit hard to see for you, I think. This is so exciting. The first time we're exploring a new continent by sailboat. Not by sailboat.
Not by sailboat, no.
We covered the 300 nautical miles in just under 60 hours, averaging about 5 knots. From a sailing perspective, it was a calm and steady crossing, thanks to Flo keeping Santana in great shape and us picking a weather window that was kind to us. But no matter how smooth the passage, there's something about seeing a new coastline rise on the horizon that still makes my heart skip a beat. Africa. A new continent and a new chapter. It might not have been the wildest passage, but it was surely a meaningful one. And sometimes that's the quiet beauty of the life afloat. Steady miles and small moments and the thrill of arriving somewhere entirely new. Welcome to Africa. Just like that. Just like that. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. More about that next week.